Yes, I heard you coming this time. Are you proud of me? Thanks. Although, I believe you made that noise for my benefit. Before you say anything, yes, I know, I shouldn't be outside the camp. It's dangerous. There are bandits, there are wild beasts. What if something happened? And so on. I am well aware. A few more minutes and I'll return. You did find me though, so congratulations. You fulfilled your duty. I see you can't leave me alone. I don't think you've taken your eyes off me this entire journey. I brought this upon myself, I suppose. I should have found a more lenient protector. No, you can stay. I'm being rather foolish. I know that. I wanted to brood, but it didn't feel satisfying in a brightly lit caravan, certainly not while surrounded by courtiers and guards, perfectly safe, perfectly pampered, perfectly... some third thing. Words fail me. But here, beyond the firelight, sitting in the dark wilderness, now that's the proper place for morose thoughts. Am I making sense? Likely not. Tell me, are you accustomed to brooding? Well, there's room on this rock for the both of us. Come, sit next to me. We can be grim and lonely together. So, any advice? On how to brood, obviously. I could do without it before, but now it's becoming more relevant. Hence, I would like to be proficient. It wouldn't do for me to be ill-prepared, and my tutors never addressed the topic. See, I thought I'd cross my arms and lean back like this and gaze up at the stars. In my mind, I looked despondent, but now I wonder if it seems too wistful. How about this? My chin in my hand, hunched forward, with ignoble posture. Then I stare daggers at the middle distance. Do I look haggard, or simply lost in thought? I'm not deflecting, I'm... All right, fine. Yes, I am. But could you please indulge my question? So I was onto something. But you're saying I should use my elbows, rest them on my knees, like this? And the hood shades your eyes. Clever. You clearly have more experience than I. Not that I expected otherwise, given the difference in our station. You had to fight for survival in a harsh world. The right to lament is yours. What could a noble scion have to sulk about? You are kind not to say, but I know you've guessed. The arranged marriage. My marriage. There's little point keeping the secret now. The staff were whispering about it before we left the capital. It's why we strengthened the guard. My parents sought to keep the knowledge from spies and assassins. Our enemies would no doubt use it to their advantage. Personally, I suspect they already are. The palace never holds secrets of the heart with the same gravity as military logistics. Not to say it's that unusual. I was raised on tales like this. Tradition demands one be prepared to marry beyond love. It shouldn't even be a trial for me. Yes, but it is. Despite all precedents, it still hurts. I worried about this when I was younger. I begged my caretaker to let me marry whoever I wished. She had to speak to my parents, the poor woman. But she accomplished it by some miracle. The king and queen sat me down for a mature discussion. To this day, I remember it clearly. It stood out from all the academics and whimsy of my childhood. They were frank that they and I had obligations, but they planned on having more children. Some would no doubt take that burden from my shoulders. I was so relieved. We understood each other and made an arrangement. It was the first time I felt the weight and power of my station. I never thought they'd go back on their promise. I appreciate your sympathy, but I must say, do not think harshly of the king and queen. Neither could have predicted my mother's sickness. The time to make peace has come, and I am the only one who can carry that mantle. Such was the spirit of our agreement. I do not begrudge them. Well, if I'm honest, I do, but most of my ire is directed at... well, I'm not sure. Fate, I suppose. Who else could be to blame? The Dominion? Perhaps... I think it is more accurate to say I blame ambition. If our nations did not covet each other's lands, this would not be necessary. I cannot, in good conscience, lay all the blame at the feet of Dominion, even if they are the most aggressive. In some sense, this alliance with the Republic will solve my problem. Cooperation between any two powers prevents the third from declaring war. Thus, peace is created between all members. It's almost ironic. What is the Dominion like? I promise I have no ulterior motive. I'm just curious. And looking to distract myself from my spiraling thoughts. Is it as bleak and militaristic as I've heard? Are all citizens trained for war? Well, yes, that is the generally held belief, at least among the aristocracy. I'm sure the common people have a more measured understanding, but is there any truth to it? All I've heard to the contrary is from their ambassadors, not the most reliable source. I see. It sounds like historical consequences of the country's ancient occupation. More so than any modern policy. Interesting. I suspected there was more nuance than I was led to believe. What will your people think of this alliance between the kingdom and the Republic? It's not simple, is it? If I understand correctly, your leaders will take it far worse than the citizenry. Why is that? Are they so at odds? I was not aware of such dissension. War, of course. I will not apologize for our last victory. I had no part in it, but I will offer my condolences. It is an unfortunate reality of looking down from on high. People begin to look like pieces on a game board, and the pieces suffer for it. It's part of why I wanted to sneak out before the summit. To truly know that the map cannot encompass the territory. Forgive me. You look like you have a question. Something about the summit? My betrothed. Why do you want to know? I did ask about your home. Fair trade, then. Let me see. My betrothed is a master of statecraft. All potential heirs of the Republic are. And yes, their leader is chosen by the people, not by succession. However, it invariably falls within one of their ancestral families. One of them has held the reins of the Republic for the last 40 years. I doubt it will change soon. We met once, at a similar summit years past. I don't believe we even spoke. I have been told many good things. The words shrewd, civil, and dedicated come to mind. I also received a love letter which was elegantly penned, especially for something done by obligation. I'm afraid that's all I know. I would like to ask you a question, but it's rather unbecoming. May I? Should I go along with the marriage? I'm sorry. I do not mean to pressure you. It's just, we have traveled for some time. I do not think we can be called strangers anymore. That's why I ask. You have a fresh perspective, one I haven't heard, and you have nothing to gain or lose by my decision. Everyone I know is entrenched in the court, in the kingdom, but you're an adventurer. You're free. It would be a lie to say I don't desire that at times. You have forged your own path through the world. I trust your judgment. Refusing the marriage would be profoundly selfish, but should I? You look more than conflicted. Is something wrong? Someone else? You mean, do I... No, I haven't found anyone else. There's no one I would be interested in marrying, at least not... No. No one. Thank you for your counsel. You are correct. I will go through with it. It's the right thing to do. Let's return to camp. We've done plenty of brooding for the night. Hey you! Yeah, from the tavern. What the hells are you doing here? If I knew you were going to travel with the caravan, I'd have gotten you a servant job like me. I assumed you were going to take a, stealthy route. It isn't a problem, not at all, except that everyone's seen your goddamn face. I'm gonna trust you know what you're doing. So, how'd you get in? The Heir made you a bodyguard? No, you're fucking with me, really? That was really the Heir at the bar? Oh, I'm sorry. Egg on my face for thinking it was absurd that the royal Heir liked the taste of watered-down beer. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Right in front of my nose? I'm not sure what's more baffling, that or the fact not a single thug realized who it was and tried to ransom them for a fortune. Well, aren't you the hero, walking her back home like you weren't planning to... Wait. That was you talking to the Heir outside camp? What do you think you're doing? You can do as you please. I take issue with the fact you're getting awfully chummy with your target. We don't live in a fucking fairy tale. If you learned something, great. But gathering intelligence is my thing. Unless it helps you do your job, it's pointless. I'm not here to listen to you flirt. Fine. That technically saved the plan, but keeping your target from running off is the bare minimum. If you hadn't, we'd both be ruined. Never forget that. Maybe you don't care about me, but I'm here to complete our mission and get us both out alive. Speaking of, our military force is in position outside the summit. If a preemptive strike is needed, we're just a hard day's ride away. We're all in on this. Are you? Promise me you'll see this through to the end. Good. Since you're here, we can keep in touch. I'm not a fan of passing notes like children, but needs must and all that. I'm housed in the servants' quarters over there. Remember, after the marriage, you do it. No hesitation. I know you know. Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll finally be off this goddamn road.